everyone. I hope it's recording. What should I talk about? I watched Jujutsu Kaisen first season. I already have second season, but I decided to give it like 2 days of a break before I watch it. I'll start watching it tonight probably and finish it tomorrow. First season, okay, like overall, I will say 8 out of 10. Yeah, okay, 8 out of 10. And I don't know if this offends people, fans of JJK, or not. I wonder how they rate an adaptation. I didn't read manga. So this is like anime only reaction. But overall, again, 8 out of 10, good show. Either lacking in adaptation or the source material is imperfect, which is normal when it begins. You generally don't have enough of experience. You're experimenting with some things and stuff like this. So yeah, but very interesting in the beginning, and then there is a couple of episodes, especially starting with episode 5, where there is so much information that by the way, I'm not giving any spoilers, at least for now. I will give a spoiler warning if there is one. There is so much information that it's hard to parse in one when you look at it once. So in this case, it's a rare case where I would definitely prefer dub. I'll be back in a moment. Okay. So yes, so much information dense that it's genuinely difficult to get everything on a first watch. And this proceeds for a couple of episodes. So I would generally divide the season into 3 overlapping sections. Beginning and establishment, the explanation, and then standard shonen arcs. Also, I should mention that the reason perhaps I am giving it such a low rating for some, because some people might think that 8 out of 10 is bad, is because I am a bit tired of shonen. Like, I've started with Dragon Ball before Dragon Ball Z was a thing. So yeah, I know shonen, and watching for the present time the same thing. Although JJK is done with relative freshness and some novel ideas, it's not going to hit the same as if it was, you know, my entry or one of the first shonens I watched. So yeah, definitely I can understand why for some people this would rate much higher. So yes, the problem with these three overlapping periods in the anime is that they have to overlap, because you have beginning and explanation, you know, like what's going on, and it drags on because it's technically like 3 episodes, but you have to start already explain a lot of stuff that's happening, and this proceeds into like episode 7, 8, when things start to get, I wouldn't say clear, but no, they aren't even clear and resolved until the mid of the season, where like the second half begins. So yeah, beginning, it's enjoyable, 7.5 out of 10. Then this explanation phase, it's tiring. I watched in a sub and I had to rewind often 3 times because things were said fast and there was a lot of information. And I do want to, you know, respect the material. I don't want to just, I don't get it right now, I will probably get it at some point. If they are trying to explain to me stuff, then I will try to understand it. That part was dragging the most. If I was watching it weekly, I don't know if I would quit, but I would probably not be hyped for the next episode. And then there is a second half of the season, which is much better. This is what's definitely 8.5 out of 10. And the most problems I would have are probably the quality of adaptation, I am assuming, and several problems with the fact that season 1 is basically just an establishment for what will happen in season 2. Yes, it's its own story, but most of it is not like very relevant, except to, you know, establish stuff for future events. Which it definitely does well. I will see you in a bit. Okay, apologies. There was a long line, so I didn't want to keep the phone in the car. Give me a sec. JJK. I am very interested in season 2. I heard that it was quality-wise much better and better received, and I heard mixed things about season 3. Some people saying that it was better than season 2, some people saying that it was slightly worse. But again, I am slightly tired of shonen, and I don't... I'm not like... super on point with all this stuff, so I'm not listening very hard or looking for people's opinions. I just sometimes hear them, so that's all. By the way, I went without any spoilers into the anime. Basically, I knew from the beginning that there was a character named Gojo who looked certain way and was basically like he looked like a badass. And whether he is a badass or isn't, I am leaving to your, if you watch, you will see. But he acts like one, like he has the attitude of a tough guy, which in shonen doesn't mean that you are tough. Those are two different things often. What else? Some power scaling issues, like let's just say that the ceiling of power is, or like we are going to the ridiculous amounts of toughness in very quick time, which is typical of shonen, but it's even shorter in JJK because it's not the long format anime, it's like the medium format anime. It was done when typical length of a season was 24 episodes, so it was a seasonal anime. And I imagine that that source material is similar. And similarities to some other series, if you watched Bleach, initially it looks very similar, and that's acknowledged. Like as far as I understand, the author did acknowledge that Bleach was like his inspiration. So JJK is like third or fourth generation of shonen, if we count Dragon Ball as first generation, Naruto as second generation, and then what? After the... Good anime, I definitely do recommend. I heard from Erin that you either subscribe to Hulu for $60 a month, or you buy episodes, which in case of season 1 would be $96. Definitely not worth it for that amount of money. I don't know. Buy a bottle of rum for that money. that expensive. So not around $100 for the first season. Who knows, maybe. And yes, I bought the needles for my father that I wasn't able to buy a couple of days ago. I bought them day later in the morning, so that's done. Okay, I'll be back in a moment. Okay, and now back. Back home? No. One thing before I go home. Very cheap oil, diesel. Check if in other places it's that cheap, because if it is, then it is worth buying. Okay. Without spoilers, it's hard to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen, and to review it properly. Some characters are annoying, some are interesting. Overall, I would say I'm positive on characters, but they aren't like the best ever. But again, that's normal in season 1, in stuff where the author just starts to create and doesn't have a full idea of what they will make in the future. So usually that's good that I'm positive on characters. The one character that I knew of, that I mentioned, I would say that he's a bit annoying sometimes, but not too much. Like 2 or 3 times he was, I don't know, maybe acting a bit too cool. Also, of course, what's depressing is that I looked at, after I watched the first season, I looked at the wiki at one specific character. I didn't read their story or anything. I just wanted to check something, and I did. And he's, like a middle-aged guy in the anime, and anime was, in the manga as well. And manga is, 10 years old or older? Older than 10 years old. And he is younger than me, and he's like middle-aged because he was born in 1990. So yeah, that's what was interesting. Surprisingly interesting were weapons. There isn't much to say about weapons because there aren't like many named. are interesting, except for the few early ones or ones that are, designed to be destroyed, I guess. They have something interesting. So, a couple of episodes at the end of event in the second half of season 1, they were 9 out of 10, I would say. And if season 2 is on this level or better as those episodes, then it will be a very good watch. And I will basically consider season 1 as something that was necessary to make the rest of anime work, which fine, but that's also a bit sad that you have a whole season that's establishment for the rest. I am not sure what I think about the story. Again, it's not finished, so I'm only season 1. It seems that unlike most shonen, it's relatively short story temporarily. In a time domain, okay? So it's not like Dragon Ball Z Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z that takes generations. And if you include GT, like 3 generations almost. This is something that takes place over a couple of months, season 1. And if I'm guessing what's in season 2, and together with season 1 it takes about a year, or maybe even less. So, yeah. I will give you a counterexample. For example, there is a fantastic sci-fi TV show, American TV show, called Babylon 5. And people often say, yeah, season 1 isn't as good as season 2, 3, and 4. And that's sort of true, but that's only because of human factors. Or mostly because of human factors. Like, actors were new to each other, they had to, know how to play with each other, they had to get friendly, they had to establish relationships and get to know how they should work and stuff. And yes, season 1 is establishment of what's to come. It's a very, it's one big story. Like those Babylon 5 is one big story. So yeah, it makes sense that season 1 is establishment for season 2. However, season 1 is full of its own stories of Babylon 5. With JJK, there are maybe 2 stories that are on their own. Definitely one that's basically not an establishment story. So there is like one thing that's a price of, of the beginnings. And I don't know the quality of adaptation. I guess I can read the manga as well. Shouldn't be too hard. Okay, I will stop rambling because this is getting half an hour long and I've been talking about the show that I'm trying not to spoil for almost half an hour. Listen, take care, like, share, subscribe, and I hope you are all well. We are doing relatively well, so thank you if you are concerned. Again, bye bye, take care.